Welcome to Pollen Weather by Pollen Wise App. It's Tuesday, August 18th. I'm Landon Bunderson, and this is the place for daily allergy news and forecasts. Today we're going to talk about the terminal velocity of pollen right after the forecast. That high-pressure system is holding steady over the Intermountain West. You can see the ring of precipitation around that system. Cool air outside of that system, very hot air inside that system. Showers predicted all around the country today. If you're lucky enough to get 1/4 of an inch in an hour in the late morning, you can expect pollen levels to drop to zero. They'll stay at zero if your entire area received rain. If it's scattered showers, the wind could bring pollen back in any minute. Pollen levels rising in the upper Midwest as we see eastern Iowa move into the red. The Northwest is about as high as it's going to get for the rest of the year, so that's not bad at all. High pollen from western Iowa to Texas, Ragweed Alley as we call it, and a lot of that is in fact ragweed. Ragweed season is peaking there now for the next 10 days in the south, and in maybe 10 days it'll peak in the north. Eastern U.S., pollen is fairly reasonable, though I do see that a lot of you are logging the orange face in the symptom tracker, especially out on the coast, so something's definitely going on out there. Looking at the mold forecast, mold is rising around the country, though there are some low numbers sprinkled throughout. Only the Atlantic coast has the luxury of very low levels, and that goes for up and down the coast. The East Coast also has the luxury of clean air. Meanwhile, we've got some really poor air in Dallas, Salt Lake City, Denver, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Southern California. Fire season is just ramping up, and things could get a lot worse before they get better. Expect more hot weather today for the rest of the week as well. Find a swimming pool or at least some shade. Today we're going to talk about the terminal velocity of pollen. Terminal velocity is basically the top speed that a falling object reaches when it's falling. Why do you need to know the terminal velocity of pollen? Well, you don't, but there is a number related to the terminal velocity of pollen that you might want to remember. The number that you might want to hang on to is the amount of time that it takes pollen in a room to settle to the floor. You obviously want to know that because if the pollen is on the floor, you're not breathing it in. Pollen falls at about 1 centimeter per second. The average ceiling is 9 feet, which is 274 centimeters. So it takes about 274 seconds, or roughly 5 minutes, for pollen to fall from the ceiling to the floor. That's the number you need to remember. If you're going to be spending time in a room, it only takes about 5 minutes for the air to rid itself of the pollen. So if you've opened the door or the window and then closed it, it's a 5-minute clock before things settle to the ground. But that's only if the air is still. So more important than remembering the 5-minute rule is the fact that pollen can stay suspended with almost imperceptible drafts. Your forced air heating and cooling will keep it suspended. Kids or pets running around a room will keep it suspended, and so will a fan. I have to turn my ceiling fan off during allergy season. If you're really struggling with your allergies this season, you might try to add still air to the list of things that your allergy safe room has got to have. Thanks for listening. Remember, we're on YouTube if you want to rewatch any of these episodes. If you are watching on YouTube, check out the Pollen Wise app for the best pollen and mold data on Earth.